and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is super awkward. So my YouTube channel is, drumroll, a Christian YouTube channel. Well, basically, I decided to start a Christian YouTube channel because I know a lot of kids my age are in college right now and they're navigating college, being Christians in college, and there are just so many things people are going through. Sex, drinking, friends, betrayal, honesty, spirituality, knowing God, just so many different things are going on. This channel is going to be all about my life navigating through college as a Christian. I grew up as a preacher's kid. My dad's an Anglican priest and my mom owns a Bible center in Lagos. And so I grew up knowing God, and I was one of those kids who started speaking in tongues at like 8. So I was super spiritual, I was super invested, and I knew God personally, but then I never had like a serious personal encounter with God, and I really wanted that for myself, to really experience Him. Like my mom had her first personal encounter because when my brother was born, he couldn't talk. And they said he was autistic and whatnot, and my mom just wasn't having it. So she went into serious prayer and fasting, and she got to know God that way. And then a couple years later, down the line, she started a Bible center. So I always wanted that kind of personal experience with God, but I never had it. And throughout high school, I struggled with identity crisis, like knowing who I was. I was always wanting to be popular, wanting to be part of the cool kids, wanting to be dressed right, wanting to be in the right scene. In the midst of struggling with identity crisis, I was just throwing myself into different things, threw a lot of myself into school and education and my work to find my identity there as being like the smart kid. I threw myself into like partying and trying to hang out with the right people, and that just didn't work out, given my background and my parents. When I left high school, I really wanted to go to Cornell. That was like my top choice school. I'm an architecture and urban regional studies major, by the way, and a minor in film. Everyone in school knew me because I'd wear this Cornell sweater every single day. It was ridiculous. So I was just like, this is definitely what I'm going to do, and I was super excited, and I was so sure I was going to get in, and I didn't get into Cornell. So I was super upset about that. I ended up going to the University of Michigan, which is actually an awesome school, BT Dubs. While I was in college, I was still going through the peer pressure I was going through in high school, trying to fit in. I was trying so hard all the time to be something I wasn't. I have an aunt who calls it carrying two flags. So it's like you want to be good, you want to be Christian, you want to be virtuous, but at the same time, you're trying so hard to fit in with these kids, and you can't do the things they're doing. So she was always saying that you have to drop one of your flags. You have to decide, what flag do you want to carry. The first year, I wanted to try out the transfer process, and it was just very difficult. I was feeling very lonely while I was there, feeling very depressed, and then I saw God out, and I started seeking God. I started going to church, I started praying, I started worshiping, and I got to know God for myself personally. Like through praying, I remember it was ridiculous, a 40-day fast. I was praying a lot, reading a lot of spiritual books, going to church all the time, and I just became so invested in knowing God that my priorities shifted. I wasn't so concerned about like being the cool kid anymore. I wasn't struggling with identity crisis. I just started loving God, and I built a personal relationship with Him. So the first year I applied to transfer, and I didn't get into any other schools. I was super devastated. It was just a beautiful experience, like getting to know God for myself. But then I ended up using that time to find God again. I really believe that it was God's, His plan, His perfect will for me to spend more time with Him and grow closer to Him. So throughout the summer, I was basically like praying and asking God why and what was going on. I was working at my mom's Bible center, and I found that even though I was really sad, because I had that relationship with Christ, I knew everything was going to be okay. So I was able to go on even with that, and then I went back to Michigan for sophomore year. And I went in, and I was happy at first, but then slowly those feelings of depression and lack of fulfillment started coming in, and I just felt like I wasn't meant to be there. So I was just like, what, I'm gonna try the transfer process again. I started waiting on God. I kept that personal relationship I had built with Him, and my sophomore year experience was really beautiful because I just got to know God so much. There were so many ups and downs with like friends and people and family and things going on at home and grades, and just so many things went on. But because I had built that personal relationship with God, like I was never super worried or super stressed out. I would just pray and wait on Him, and everything just turned out so well. So I ended up applying to a bunch of transfer schools. I didn't want to apply to Cornell, but my mom urged me to apply. So I threw that in kind of last minute, and I applied. I remember the day it came out. First of all, I got rejected from one school. I was super upset after reading that to inform you, and I was just like, whatever. And then an hour later, Cornell came and I was just like, oh my goodness, so I'm going to get rejected from 2 schools in an hour. And then I opened it up looking for the "we regret to inform you" famous line, and I saw a congratulate, and I was just like, what is going on right now? And then I was super excited. I ran downstairs, I was crying and blah for it and everything. Without the transfer experience, I never would have gotten to like know God, you know? Like I never would have had that personal experience. So the personal experience I always wanted, I found it. Oh, before I leave, I'm gonna share with you guys my favorite verse, the verse that kind of like kept me throughout sophomore year. And the verse is Colossians 1 verse 27. And I'm gonna paraphrase it. It's just, I always say to myself, Christ in me, the hope of glory. So why I love this verse so much was because I finally didn't struggle with identity crisis anymore, and I finally found myself in Christ. I finally found that I didn't need approval from the people I was looking for approval from, or from having high grades and things like that. Like just knowing Christ and having that relationship was enough for me, and I was okay, I was satisfied. So I realized that knowing God brought me streams of favor and grace and blessings, and I was just very happy and very successful with everything going on. So, and I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. I can't believe I'm saying that, it's so cheesy. And share with your friends, with your family, and stay tuned. Next week I'm gonna post another video on some cool hot topic or one of my personal experiences. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Bye.
Do it.